Shockingly, it's been revealed that Bill Spaulding will not be returning to the MSG broadcast team come next season. He will be replaced by Don La Greca. We're going to hear what Bill and MSG had to say about the recent change, and I will share my thoughts on the subject as well. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast. Here at the Locked On Network, I'm your host, College Hockey Play announcer, Devils Wire Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. It is July 8th as I am recording this episode. On this date in history in 2022, the Devils traded for Vitek Vanecek from the Capitals. In 2020, they hired Lindy Ruff. And in 1999, I was born. Thank you all for the birthday messages. I really appreciate it. Celebrating 26 years on this earth. I am no longer a spring chicken. I am inching closer to 30, which is kind of weird to think about. But all jokes aside, thank you for your kind messages. Once again, I really appreciate it. But as you guys know, the grind does not stop. What's on the agenda for today's episode? Well, we got some more sound bites to share from development camp. We will hear from Ethan Edwards and Trenten Bennett a little later. But to kick off today's episode, we're going to talk about the surprising news of the day, which is the departure of Bill Spaulding. So first, I will read you guys the press releases from both MSG and Bill, and then I will share my thoughts on the matter. First, from MSG. MSG Networks announced that longtime ESPN New York radio personality Don La Greca has been named as the lead play-by-play announcer for MSG Network's television coverage of the New Jersey Devils. A New Jersey native, La Greca has been a host with ESPN New York Radio since its inception in 2001 and has also been calling Ranger games on the MSG radio network since 2005. La Greca will join Mr. Devil, Ken Danico, in the MSG Network's Devils broadcast booth for the 2025-2026 season. La Greca was quoted to say, "To be the voice of the team that got me into hockey as a kid, a team that represents my home state with an incredible fan base, and to follow in the footsteps of some great play-by-play voices in the sport is an absolute dream come true. And to work with the legend Ken Danico makes it that much sweeter. I can't wait for the season to start." Andrea Greenberg, who is the president and CEO of MSG, said, "We're excited to welcome Don to our Devils broadcast team. Don's top-notch play-by-play skills and his love for the Devils will endear him very quickly to the Devils fans, many of whom know him from his presence as a cherished tri-state area sports personality on ESPN New York Radio." La Greca is currently co-host of Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg on ESPN New York Radio. Before that, La Greca was a co-host of the Michael Kay Show on ESPN New York Radio, a position he began in 2002. Once again, he is a New Jersey native. We'll talk about that momentarily, but here's what Bill Spaulding had to share to the Devils community. "Serving as your broadcaster for the last 3 years has been the privilege of a lifetime. From a 13-game win streak in 2022 to Shimo Nemitz's OT goal versus the Canes, your energy has powered our broadcast at the Rock and on the road. To Devils fans, you welcomed me in with open arms from day one. It was a joy to get to know so many of you over the last few years. I never took for granted the privilege of being welcomed into your homes each broadcast, and I hope I was able to match your passion every night. To the Devils organization, I am grateful for your support over the last 3 years. You are an organization that stands up for what it believes in and walks the walk. Thank you to the players and coaches for helping me share so many of your stories. To my teammates, Dano, I couldn't have asked for a better partner on and off the air the last 3 years. Sal, you've taught me so much about hockey and about life. Rachel, your positive energy was contagious. Roland, Tommy, Larry, Leo, Nick, JT, and the rest of the crew, You are exceptional at what you do. And beyond that, great friends. With a full heart, thank you for the last 3 years. I will never forget. Let's go, Devils, Bill. Wow. I must say, I was shocked, flabbergasted to hear the news that Bill would no longer be the play-by-play announcer for the Devils, because it's hard to believe, but he's been the voice of the Devils for the past 3 years. He was the successor of Steve Cangelosi, and I think Bill filled the shoes really well. So that was my initial reaction. I talked about it briefly in the prior episode, but here are my thoughts on the matter. It was revealed that MSG just didn't renew Bill's contract. Bill was not fired, so he didn't do anything wrong. I think MSG just felt as though it was time to move in a different direction. What I can get from all this is that this industry, it's tough, and Bill will be the first to tell you that. Sometimes you could do everything right, but at the end of the day, maybe the organization you're working with wants to go in a different direction, and that's what MSG decided to do. They did it last year with Erica Wachter, and now they're doing it with Bill Spaulding. Different circumstances. I believe Wachter wanted more money, and there was just a contract dispute, and she decided to explore other ventures. For Bill, they just decided not to renew his contract. I guess he originally signed a 3-year deal. You can say whatever you want to say about Bill, but I think he did a phenomenal job while on air for the Devils. And I think if you were to ask most of the Devils fan base, I think 90 to 95% of them would agree. Bill did a terrific job calling the action. I think he had a unique dialect and command as to how to call a game. And I have no doubt in the back of my mind that he's going to latch on to somewhere else, because Bill already does some stuff for NBC. He did some stuff last summer for the Olympics. Bill's one of the best in the business right now. So hopefully he does get another play-by-play gig with a different team. I want to see him succeed. That's all I can really tell you. It's just a tough business, and I guess MSG felt as though it was right to go into a different direction. But I do want to say this. I am going to keep an open mind when it comes to La Greca, and I hope you do too. I understand the disappointment. I understand the anger. I understand the confusion, but let's be respectful, because I saw a lot of people on social media basically show a lot of disrespect towards La Greca. He didn't do anything wrong. I also want to make this clear. Don't go at the Devils organization for making this decision. MSG made the decision, not the Devils. So just keep that in mind, because I don't want there to be any displaced anger or frustration. Bill is a friend of the show. He appeared on it last fall to talk about his broadcasting journey, some of his more notable calls, answer some of your questions. I wish him the best. Those are just my main takeaways, and I basically have no notes for this. This is me reacting to it in real time. This is me giving my thoughts on the matter. I was flabbergasted. I was shocked. I don't think Bill did anything wrong. He wasn't fired. They just decided not to renew his contract. Remember, when Cangelosi initially stepped down from the Devils, there were rumors saying that La Greca was the favorite to land the position. Ultimately, it went to Bill. Now that Bill's contract was up, I guess they said, you know what? I think it's a good opportunity to bring on La Greca and just get a different feel for it. Bill's also an East Coast native, so I don't think that's the excuse, saying that they just wanted to get an East Coast native to call the games, because remember, Bill grew up just outside of Elmira, New York. He listened to a lot of broadcasters, including Rick Jeanneret for the Sabres, Sam Rosen for the Rangers, Doc Emmerich for the Devils. He was in that area where they would just broadcast all sorts of games to his TV set or his radio feed. So he got to learn from a lot of great announcers growing up. He also went to school in New York, Syracuse. As an Arizona State alum, I have my feelings towards Syracuse, but all jokes aside, Bill's great. He was great to me. He was very welcoming. He was never afraid to give me some constructive criticism when it came to some of my play-by-play ventures, and I appreciate him for it, because I've grown so much as a broadcaster, and I think Bill played a big part in it. Something else I'm going to miss from Bill is his social media presence. He seemed very in tune with the Devils fan base. A couple examples I can give is that the first is that he was never afraid to share stats on social media. And I think he was very up to date as to how people view the game, because for better or for worse, people love analytics. And Bill always shared certain analytics or certain nuggets on social media that I would sometimes use on my show. So that goes to show he's very up to date with social media and having a good presence on there. And something else he did, which I found entertaining, was that he would sometimes call out media members for writing clickbait articles. I honestly found it somewhat amusing. And obviously everything is in good faith. No ill intent. He's just sharing his opinion like media members do. I loved it. I found it very entertaining. And I think Devils fans also found it entertaining. And it goes to show Bill will go to bat for some of the players and he will stick up for them. Having a good social media presence in this day and age is important, if you ask me, because we're in a time period where everyone has a phone, technology is big, and Bill knew how to make his presence known. I guess the offseason has taken a bit of a turn, but let's welcome Don La Greca with open arms and see how it goes. Bill Spaulding is out. Don La Greca is in. All right, we're going to hear from Ethan Edwards and Trenten Bennett momentarily, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You could get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, I got some more sound bites to share from development camp. We're going to hear from Trenten Bennett first. Remember, Bennett was drafted in the 4th round just a few weeks ago in Los Angeles by the Devils. I talked about it with Jersey Joe when he appeared on the show a few days ago. I really hope Trenten Bennett works out because the Devils traded Pavel Zacha to the Bruins. And just a few weeks ago, the Devils traded Eric Haula to the Predators in exchange for a 4th round selection in this year's draft. And that selection became Trenten Bennett. Here's the scouting report on Bennett. Bennett is a monster in the crease. He's listed at 6'6", but some places have him listed as 6'8". Either way, he's one of the biggest and most imposing looking goalies in the draft, and it almost looks like he has to squat to get his entire frame into the net. So he has a similar body frame to Mike Yegorov. He's committed to play at St. Lawrence University. This past season, he played with the Owen Sound Attack in the OHL. He appeared in 6 games. He had a goals against average of 2.65, a .923 save percentage, and recorded 1 shutout. He had a record of 1-4. Similar to Yegorov, I'm curious to see how he transitions to the NCAA. Will we see those stats inflate just a little bit? I don't really know much about the Owen Sound Attack. I don't know what kind of defense they had in front of him, but his numbers seem solid. He also played for the Kentville 73s in the CCHL. He appeared in 31 games. He had a 2.92 goals against average, a .912 save percentage, had 3 shutouts, and had a record of 13-5-2. So once again, let's see how he transitions to the NCAA. Trenten Bennett spoke to the media during development camp. Here's what he had to share.
What are your thoughts on getting drafted by the Devils? Where were you when you found out, and how excited are you to join the organization?
Yeah, I was just home with my brother and my mom, and it was so exciting. It's unlike anything I've ever been a part of, and just very excited and honored to be with the Devils. I can't say anything but positives while being here, and it's just been really exciting, like I said.
And what have the last couple of days been like, whether it's working on the ice with these new guys or working with some coaches and development staff? Like, what's this couple of days been like for development camp?
Yeah, it's been great. I've just trying to be a sponge out here, just kind of soak in everything, really learn from the guys. Obviously Marty's done a lot here, as well as the other guys, Anders and everyone else in the goalie world. So I'm just trying to take in everything, learn as much as possible. It's been really good, and I think my game's getting a lot better the last couple of days for sure.
How would you describe your game as a goaltender? Obviously, size is a big strength of yours.
Yeah. Obviously, size is the key to my game, but also I think that's athleticism, the ability to move with all my weight and size. I think I do a good job of that.
What are some areas you want to maybe improve upon in your game?
Definitely just active hands, making sure every puck that comes at me is a dead play. And yeah, just upping my intensity and my movement. I think that would be a good goal for the summer for sure.
Where are you heading to next year? Are you going back to Kemptville?
No, I'm going back to Owen Sound.
Okay.
That's the plan. We'll have to see what happens, but I think that's the goal, yeah.
And what's making you excited about next year, maybe the things that you can accomplish individually and as a team?
Yeah, I think just looking at last year and how much happened, committing to St. Lawrence, being able to play in Owen Sound and then getting drafted. I think this year it's just really exciting to see what happens again. Hopefully a lot of positives just like last year. But no, I think playing a full year in the O is definitely exciting. Something you dream of when you're little, being able to play there. So yeah, just a lot of excitement and positive things looking forward, yeah.
Who was your favorite goalie growing up?
Growing up, it was Carey Price. I grew up a Habs fan, so that's kind of who I liked to watch. But yeah, that's kind of who I liked growing up.
Is there anybody you model your game after, like a Ben Bishop or anybody?
Yeah, Ben Bishop for sure. I mean, he's probably one of the tallest goalies in the league. So I'd say Thatcher Demko as well. A guy that's tall and can move. I think I really like to watch him in that sense.
When you got drafted, did you know Trenton was the capital of New Jersey?
I had no idea. I forget who told me that, but that's pretty funny and unique for sure.
Did you play any other sports other than hockey?
Yeah, a lot actually. I played volleyball. I played basketball a little bit, lacrosse, soccer, baseball, kind of everything. So yeah.
How's your golf game?
Oh yeah, golf too. I forgot about that. 8 handicap. I like to say I'm all right. So yeah.
How did you do in basketball?
I was all right. Kind of wore on my knees, so it didn't stick around too long, but I enjoyed it while it lasted.
What position did you play?
Pretty obvious. I played center, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted to be a goaltender?
So I don't know if this is for everyone, but in House League, we'd rotate between who got to play in net. And so when I was a player, I hated getting off the ice. I thought, if I could stay out there the whole time, it'd be awesome. So once I got to play goalie, it was like, oh, this is great. I get to play the whole game. And then I kind of just didn't let anyone else touch the pads. That's kind of how it got started.
And you had conversations with Marty?
Yeah, for sure.
What's it like talking to Hall of Famer?
It's insane. If I told myself a year ago I'd be talking to Martin Brodeur, I wouldn't believe it. It's insane. Obviously, when he speaks and he gives you advice, you just want to listen and take it all in. So, yeah, I talked to him. He texted me after I got drafted, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just really trying to take in everything that he says. Mm-hmm.
You play so many sports. Why hockey? Why did you say this was it?
Yeah, my dad played. Hockey was kind of the sport growing up through my family. So, just playing with him in the driveway, that's kind of how it got started. Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised when you heard your name called on day 2?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're growing up, you always dream of that moment. And just see your name and hear it getting called, you don't really believe it. It's kind of surreal. So, in that moment, it didn't feel real, really. It's very surreal.
I'm sorry. Do you have an idea you're going to get drafted, or were you kind of going in like not knowing where things would fall?
Yeah, obviously, you get a good idea talking to teams and through your agent. I had, I thought maybe I'd get picked, but obviously 4th round, it was pretty exciting. It's definitely a high pick for a goalie. So yeah, I guess, I was expecting to go somewhere, but going up that high and to New Jersey, I guess it was a bit of a surprise, yeah.
Once again, I really hope Bennett has a good career. I know Yegorov has a brighter future. I know people are predicting for Yegorov to be sort of like the franchise goalie in the not so distant future once the Devils move on from Jacob Markstrom and Jake Gallen. But Bennett could still have a solid career in the NHL as well. And hopefully he does that, because in the same draft class as Connor McDavid, the Devils selected Pavel Zacha. And now Pavel Zacha has become Trenten Bennett because, like I said, traded Zacha to the Bruins in exchange for Hala, then traded Hala to the Predators in exchange for a 4th round pick, and now that pick has become Bennett. So here's to hoping that Bennett has a successful career in the not so distant future, and he has a good showing this upcoming year with St. Lawrence University. All right, let's talk about another prospect that people are high on, and that is Ethan Edwards from the University of Michigan. I love my Wolverines. Maybe it's just because both my parents went to Michigan and I have some ties there, but yeah, I kind of like Ann Arbor. I like the maize and blue, but going back to Edwards, here's a scouting report. It's Edwards' skating and high activity rate that informs so much of his value. He's so aggressive carrying the puck up ice in transition, and he tirelessly works to support the puck in the offensive zone. The same is true the way that Edwards defends. Whether it's in the neutral zone or defensive zone, he closes in on puck carriers and plays with decisiveness. Edwards this past season with the Wolverines appeared in 36 games. He had 5 goals, 16 assists for a grand total of 21 points. He also appeared in 10 games with the Comets. He racked up 3 points, all of them assists. Before I play Edwards' soundbite from development camp, here's what Casey had to tell me when I asked him about Edwards during exit interviews. Take a listen. We'll play both soundbites back to back.
One of your Wolverine teammates, Ethan Edwards, recently signed his entry-level contract. What can you tell us about him and what he might bring to the team in the future?
Yeah, Ethan, he's an unbelievable guy. Great on the ice. I think he has a really physical game, can add a ton of offense, skates super well. Really nothing bad to say about his game. He's a great player and a better guy. Hopefully be spending a lot of time with him.
First, let's get I know you've been to this camp before, but what's it like being back here with all the guys and kind of catching up on some and meeting some new guys?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see the young guys come in with lots of energy, and for the guys that's been here, it's just good to see everyone again, and created some good friendships throughout the years at this camp, so it's good to see everyone.
And can you kind of go through your last year and maybe making the jump to pros, what that experience was like, and obviously ending the season not the way you wanted, but pretty good year overall?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, obviously the standard is to at least make the tournament, so I was a little bit disappointed there, but the bright side was to come to Utica and finish the year there and get my professional career started, and it was great. I really enjoyed my time there, and I think it was very valuable for me to kind of get a taste of what it's like, and I think it'll do me good to have that experience to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was only 10 games, but did you really take away a lot, whether it was the speed of the game or the physicality, or what did you notice different about the game, I guess? Yeah,
definitely a little bit of quicker game, but it's also more controlled, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But then they got old man strength out there, so just trying to put on a little bit more strength this summer and come in able to hold my own.
That's actually my next question was what areas do you want to improve, whether physically, on the ice, those skills? What are you looking to take into next year?
Yeah, I think, like I said, put on a little bit of strength. I think I'm a strong kid, but just a little bit extra to get me out of those corners, get me out of those weird, awkward situations, and then game style, I think just being able to pick my spots and slow the game down in my mind and let the game come to me.
You mentioned about coming from Michigan, that situation. It seems like the Big Ten seems to be coming out with a lot of players, good players, great players, I guess, in the last few years. What is it about the Big Ten that has been spitting out so many players like this?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of good college hockey conferences, but I mean recently I got the opportunity to play with a lot of good players at Michigan, so maybe that has something to do with it. Playing with the best, and then kind of works out in your favor. You get to practice with them every day, and I don't know how exactly that whole trend started, but I think that probably has something to do with it.
Do you feel like a little bit of a leadership role here, being one of the older guys, I'd say, for this camp, especially with some of these younger guys coming in, these recent draft picks?
Yeah, I think just having, been here before, I think I'm a resource for the younger guys that if they have any questions, and I'm happy to talk to them, and I think me going out of my way to, kind of welcome guys, and if I see someone maybe a little unsure, but I can go help out, and I'm confident enough to do that.
Ryan got the interim tag taken off. He's now the head coach for the Comets. How was your early interactions with him, and are you excited to kind of work with him?
Yeah, super excited. I think the whole new coaching staff there, besides Ryan, and really excited. So Ryan's a great guy, and my little time with him, I've learned a lot. So excited to keep that going.
Apparently, a lot of people were happy that I asked Casey about his former Wolverine teammate, Ethan Edwards, and it seems like Casey has high praise for him, so I'm really looking forward to having Ethan Edwards in the organization as well. So how many Wolverines are on the Devils roster? You got Luke Hughes, Seamus Casey, Ethan Edwards. They recently traded for Thomas Bordelot, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how those Wolverines players develop in the not-so-distant future. Let me know your thoughts about the broadcasting change that the Devils made. What were your reactions? Like I told you guys, I was flabbergasted and I did not see it coming. And share your thoughts on Trenten Bennett and Ethan Edwards. I'm curious to hear what you got to say. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X page app at TrainMatt4 or the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.